So finally, states are fighting back. The Trump administration, the ICE agents, and they're fighting back hard. From Letitia James launching an online portal, inviting the public to share information, videos, and photos of when they are attacked by ICE agents. This came when ICE descended on Canal Street in Manhattan and just caused a ruckus. You might have seen online videos of civilians in New York streets like really going ham on the ICE agents and Border Patrol that are trying to roam the streets. New York don't play that. So she's launched this website and it's on and popping. Now, similarly, on an appearance on Jen Psaki's show on MSNBC recently, Governor Pritzker of Illinois said that ICE agents actually can be prosecuted for violating Illinois law. Listen here.
The problem now, of course, is that Donald Trump has fired many of the inspectors general, or he's replaced them with political appointees. And so we don't know that anybody would be held accountable at the federal level. So we're looking at all of the options at the local level with county states attorneys, with attorneys general, to go after people when they're breaking Illinois law, when they're breaking local law. And we think that they have. You know, when they're driving through an area, someone's yelling at them and they decide to simply throw a tear gas canister out of the car as they're driving through at someone who's on the side of the road. That, it seems to me, is a violation of Illinois law. And so the question is, can we hold the officers, the agents responsible when they do something like that? If it were a police officer, we could. If it was, you or me or just an average person throwing a tear gas canister out the side of a window at people, we could hold them responsible. So it seems like they ought to be held responsible for breaking local and state laws.
Exactly. And he ended that interview by pointing out that while Donald Trump may have immunity, though it's only for official acts. So when he, for example, had a dinner, crypto dinner, and Carolyn Levitt said that's on his own free time. She essentially said his bribing, taking a bribes, that was on his own free time. She said it. So that's not official act. Anyway, so he has immunity for official act. The rest of them don't. And the statute of limitation is 5 years. And they can be prosecuted for violating state laws. So listen to that roundup again by Governor Pritzker.
They're not always going to be in office, but they will, other than the president, who's now been given immunity by the Supreme Court. The people who serve for the president, including all the way down to ICE agents, can be held accountable when there's a change of administration who's willing to hold them accountable when they break the law. Now, Stephen Miller is clearly ordering people to break the law. So, he should know that, it may be 3 years from now that he is held accountable, but make sure, I think it's important for them to know that whatever they do now, it's not like we're going to forget, and it's not like we don't have a record of what they're doing. So that is why I mentioned Stephen Miller. That's why I mentioned other people, Tom Homan and Gregory Bavino, who's the CBP leader on the ground, the one who executed their orders in Los Angeles, which was, they did an awful job in Los Angeles and created all kinds of mayhem on the ground. Now he's doing it in Chicago. And so all these people need to recognize that, you may have immunity because Donald Trump's willing to pardon anybody that's carrying out his unlawful orders, but you're not going to have it under another administration.
Hakeem Jeffries told me something similar when I spoke to him last week.
Right. Now, separate from that, the Illinois Attorney General pointed out in the video that he's too is starting a website and a phone action call line to document when ICE agents are violating Illinois law by, for example, swapping out plates. Look at this video here.
You may have seen this video recently on social media. It shows an ICE agent confronting someone filming a vehicle and saying,
you can record all you want.
I am.
Change plates out every day.
Well, I have a big problem with that. You see, swapping out Illinois license plates on Illinois registered vehicles is illegal. And as Secretary of State, I have zero tolerance for this type of illegal activity. We are investigating these allegations as we speak, and I'm asking for your help. Today, we're announcing a special PlateWatch hotline for people to report this type of illegal activity. You can call 312-814-1730 or email platewatch@ilsos.gov. Flipping license plates or altering them in any way to avoid detection is strictly prohibited in Illinois. Penalties include fines and potential jail time. Our office also has the authority to suspend or revoke the vehicle's license plates. And no one, including a federal agent, is above the law. So if you see this occurring anywhere, call or email our hotline so that we can keep our communities safe.
Right. So let's get him. And then in my state and other states, remember Donald Trump's administration tried to have at the airports announce that the reason why the airports and they're slow is because of the, the Trump administration. But of course, each airport has the right to whether to air it or not or play it. And most of them no, we're not doing that. That's a violation of the Hatch Act. So no, Christie, no, kick rocks. And then they tried to change the websites to say that it's the Democrat shutdown, which is a violation of the Hatch Act, because any employee that would do that is considered partisan, and they would be arguably in violation of the Hatch Act, but that doesn't stop the states. So states like, for example, my state, Maryland, announcing to folks that have SNAP benefits that they're going to expect their SNAP to not be activated November 1 if the government doesn't back open up. They're saying this is Trump's shutdown. So there you go. And that's not just Maryland, but other states are doing it. So we are pushing back. So that's boom. And certainly Nancy Pelosi and the governor of California, Newsom, all have been saying that they're going to prosecute ICE agents. As a matter of fact, there's a law that's about to be passed. It hasn't gone into effect yet that requires ICE agents to not wear masks. And Kristi Noem has already said that she's going to continue to allow them or tell them they can wear masks, essentially saying they're going to be violating the state laws. So it's possible, come January 26th, we're going to have a problem where if ICE agents continue to wear masks while they're trying to do their job in California, they're in trouble, because it's definitely going to be a battle. All right, so yeah, I'm just excited to see that our states are pushing back, and we'll continue to monitor the situation and monitor the extent to which we are fighting back, and the states are using their power. Back in January or so, I did a video saying that the states are monitoring and looking at all their options, because we know that Donald Trump's infamously, essentially by pardoning people like George Santos and those folks, he's subtly, quietly sort of signaling that he is willing to not look the other way, but he's willing to pardon you if you're willing to do his bidding. It's like a subtle hint. That's why he's doing these things, getting those people out. Essentially, go ahead and violate the law. When they prosecute you, because they're going to prosecute you, when I'm out of office, I got your back, or I might try to do a preemptive one. So we know that's something that's coming down the pike. But with the states being active, again, Donald Trump is a 34-time convict in the state of New York, and he can't be pardoned. He can't pardon himself anyway, but he couldn't be pardoned, and he wasn't able to escape it. His chief of staff, Mark Meadows, currently is being prosecuted in the state of Georgia. I keep bringing that up as an example. And Mark Meadows tried to go to the Supreme Court and ask the Supreme Court, "Can you save me from from state prosecution?" And the Supreme Court was like, "No, we're not saving you." So that should be a warning sign to all of them. And I also want to point out not something that Governor Pritzker said in his interview when he says about we can prosecute police. Now here I'm going to play for you a clip from a police officer who said that they have training, and then they know that they're subject. We already know there are police officers in jail today for violating people's rights. You can do what you can do. You have a certain level immunity or leeway as a police officer, but the minute you cross it, and when you're violating people's human rights and core constitutional rights, your immunity goes away. You only have immunity to do something within the bounds of law. Once you go extremely outside the bounds of law, you lose that immunity. So let's end this video with that. I'm going to end this video with that clip, and then let's talk below.
This message is for anybody working for ICE that does not understand what qualified immunity means. When I was a police officer, I didn't have a full grasp of what that meant either. No shame, but you need to understand what it means. After all this dust has settled, what's going to happen is that civil rights attorneys are going to contact the individuals whose Fourth Amendment rights have been clearly violated. Those attorneys are going to argue that you should have known and that the Fourth Amendment of the Constitution was already firmly established, which it is. Just to recap, the Fourth Amendment guarantees citizens the right to be free from unreasonable search and seizure. When that attorney successfully argues that you willfully disregarded the Fourth Amendment and you violated that person's civil rights, you are now absent of qualified immunity. What that means is you are going to be held personally liable. Your personal property forever is going to be subject to paying back the defendant whose home you broke into. You must understand this. ICE is going to hang you out to dry. They're not going to protect you when all of these thousands and thousands of attorneys come and show that it was you that was entering these houses. That means any paycheck you ever earn in the future is going to go to the victims whose Fourth Amendment you violated. Not only will you be held personally financially liable for the damages you incurred, you're also going to be named publicly in these cases, meaning you're never going to get a job anywhere ever again. The best case scenario is you're going to end up being somebody's landscaper, probably being paid in cash. Hope that helps.
Yeah, isn't that powerful? I had a video that I did that did pretty well on all channels because people really felt my angst. It's this video right here. It's on YouTube. It's on Instagram. It's on all my socials. A lot of people responded to it. But in that, I go through the various different laws that the ICE agents could be subject to be prosecuted for, essentially warning you, like, as you're doing these things, you think you're protected. Not only can people come after you, you can lose your house. So enjoy whatever benefits or perks you're getting now, the bonuses, whatever, that's short-lived. If you are so desperate that you want the money, that's fine. And we already know from reporting that they're failing the people who they asked for they offered the $50,000 bullets. So they got all these people. When they got the people, they got these old folks who couldn't meet the health requirements. They also got people who weren't necessarily the smartest. And so they failed, a huge fail rate. And here's the thing, they failed for an open book exam. These people had the option to open the book and they still failed. And the training went for something like 16 weeks, which is normally, down to something like 8 weeks. And we know that they're barely passing. There was a report from an ICE agent before Trump came over that said that usually only like 2 people would fail the test. Now it's like so many people because they're incentivizing like the brokest, the most illiterate, the most out of shape, the most Goombaish people, in desperate people who are willing to do it for a check. Like they're willing to violate the laws. And the thing about it, which is sad, when you look at the ICE agents, a lot of times they're women and they're people of color, and they're people from marginalized communities. They're people who ancestors or folks are just like came from like they're impoverished themselves. They're letting these top guys throw them out there and like sacrifice them. Essentially, at some point when there's a turn, you guys are going to be held accountable, but they're willing to take that risk for their family. They're willing to just do that. There's other ways to earn a living, but they're just like, say, we're just going ahead and earn a living this way, and we'll deal with it. And that's why a good chunk of them actually couldn't even pass a criminal background check. They were showing up for training, and when they reviewed them, say, hold up, we gotta you can't do this anymore because you failed the criminal background check. There's a lot of them who just failed the criminal background check. So that's how Goombaish it is. That's ridiculous. And that's why, at the end of the day, I think there's going to be accountability, and they need to know this. They need to see more stories like this. So share this video so more people know. So if you have ICE agents in your family, if you're an ICE agent, if you're, doing something, if you are Department of Homeland Security, you're a border person, and you out here Goombaish on behalf of Kristi Noem, who's sitting in her ivory tower, though she's going to come down. Stephen Miller's Jewish Nazi. It's so funny. Someone said, why are you calling him a Jewish Nazi? That's horrible. Yeah, the stuff that you're doing is not, I don't usually like to take the Holocaust seriously. It's really not great to evoke that memory, but the before they started exterminating people, they were doing the sorts of things that Stephen Miller's doing now. So yeah, Jewish Nazi is a great term for him. And you have Tom Homan, the little crook, the little bribe taker, and you have Pam Bondi, she looks like a doe in the headlights all the time. She's just violating her oaths also. She's going to come down. All of them eventually going to come down too, the ivory tower. But they're sitting in the ivory tower. They have their Secret Service. They think they're doing what the hell they want to do now. They think they have 4 years to tear up the country. Meanwhile, you guys at the bottom are just they say only protection they'll give you is your mask. So that's all we have to protect you from is your mask. So if you do laws, you do things, and they find out who you are and you get prosecuted, that's on you. So it's a risk. You guys chose to take it as a calculated risk. So we'll see how that works out for you in the end. It's legal. Each one teach one. I'm in the dockets. That's what I do here. I share the lawsuits filed by the Trump administration and those against the Trump administration, those the Trump administration filed against others, take you beyond the headlines. So if you're interested in that, I want to invite you to share this video, share this account, let other people know. That's the easiest way. You can also join my newsletter at jjlegal.com. So I'm going to do an update each week. And so in case the social media platforms, like, who knows what happens, or they push my videos away from you, don't see me, you know you can get it there. And that's free. If you like something exchanged, you can get my Know Your Rights cards, my case tracker, or templates, or merch. Like each one, teach one. This is soft. This is really beautiful. This is one of my sweatshirts. Look at this color. It has some different colors. There's a hood on it.